Hey, happy Monday. Yes, we are back with a power hour today. Not the classic green power hour, but at least not yet. We're down about 5% sitting on Tesla stock market's taking a huge crapper. Let me know if my audio is coming in clear in the chat. Let me know your city, state, country, whatever you guys feel comfortable sharing. Let's get the show started. I got my lucky Juju hat on, my trucker Juju hat. I've got an iced coffee sitting on the side here, ready to go. Unfortunately, I've eaten all my tangerines and all my squeezable items in the, well, okay, pause. All my squeezable fruit in the house. And thank you, Messi, for joining me. Hello, Johnny from Minnesota. DJ, how's it going? Mimi, Martin, how's it going? Marco, different Marco from the Netherlands. Digital, how's it going, my friend? ASML and AMD agree on our platform. Yes, so what we'll do in our agenda for today, and I'll pull up stocks here in a second. Paco, how's it going? Miyoko, awesome. Beach Crow, how's it going, my friend? Okay, perfect. So here's our agenda for today. All right, and I'm gonna bring down the music a little bit here. Here's our agenda for today. Let's talk stocks, right? Essentially, what happened last night, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably already know. We had a huge crash last night with futures. Essentially, Nasdaq was down like 5% pre-market, which is totally, completely unheard of. Does not happen type situation. And essentially, all you really need to know there, it was a conglomeration of the Bank of Japan raising rates, which caused a bond frenzy, a lot of liquidation happening there, Iran potentially retaliating against Israel, and some geopolitical warfare going on there. And then Warren Buffett selling his Apple stock, half of his Apple stock or whatever he sold. Oh, hold on. Let me just make sure everyone can see the chat box just fine. Hold on. So all those things melt up together into what was an epic crash last night. But as we sit right now, Tesla's only down 4.75%. Hold on. Let me pull up the NASDAQ. The Qs are sitting down 3%. So, you know, to me, I look at this and I go, well, if the NASDAQ is down 3%, Tesla should really be down closer to 6%. So that's a win. The S&P 500 should be down about 1.5%, but the S&P 500 is actually down just as much as the NASDAQ, which you really don't see that often, I'll be honest. If you look at Apple, oh, hold on. That's not Apple here. If you look at Apple, Apple's taking a beating, down 6%. Apple really stays in line with the NASDAQ for the most part. I think the beta is closer to 1. But with the NASDAQ down 3%, you would think Apple would be down 3.5. It's down 6. And again, this is Warren Buffett. The thing with Apple is I really have a hard time betting against Apple. Nvidia is down 6.8% as we talk, but I'll leave it on Tesla as I go back to the comment section and I read out some places. Jimmy from Denmark, how's it going? Jimmy, Mike from Minnesota, Blake, how's it going? Dieter from Portugal, Paul from Danbury. We should add that in, Martin. Waiting for the Tesla garbage collection truck and the robot collection. How's it going, zombies? Roger, I love Power Hour. I love you guys joining me for Power Hour. It's always an amazing time. It's 12:06 p.m. We got a whole full hour booked up on the show. I've got Alexandra Mers, her interview with Yahoo Finance locked and loaded. I've got some CNBC segments from today about today's crash. It's going to be an action-packed stream. Did you see Tucker Carlson just dropped a review of the Cybertruck? I did see that, and I see some people saying that that he actually got a Cybertruck from Elon. I'm not sure if that's the case, but I did see that. Maybe we can briefly look over that as well. Drew says he had a panic attack this morning looking at stocks. Well, look, if you weren't online last night and you looked at it this morning, I can imagine the WTF factor that you probably had. South Padre Island, Texas. How's it going, Colt? Sanju, how's it going, my friend? Thank you, Messi. Power Hour rules. I appreciate it. And while you're here and you're enjoying the stream, give it a like. It helps support the stream. Give me a comment as well that you're enjoying it. I like reading positive reinforcement. It's good for my ego, right? Roger says, China trying to negotiate peace between the Palestinian factions and Israel. I'm not sure about China being in that, but we can read up into that. How's it going, Mike? Seattle in the house? Yes, interview with Alexander was great. So I was watching it. I watched half of it and then I turned it off because I wanted to react to the second half live with you guys here. And we'll go through that here in a second. So, okay. 197.12 sitting on Tesla at the moment. I'm just going to zoom out here. These are 1 minute candles sitting up on Tesla. we'll play our Tesla closing price guessing game. No extra points if you get it here now. But okay, first question to the chat. I want to see, do you think we end this week red or green? Or flat, I guess. I want to know the sentiment in the chat. I want to know your sentiment. Do you think we end this week red, green, or flat in Tesla? Because last night I tweeted this out while I wait for your guys' replies. I tweeted this out last night. I said, I've been tweeting a lot. I said, I actually think there's a good chance this week actually closes green. Too much fear and too little liquidity. Good companies are still printing money. Martin says green. Blue. Marco says green. Flat. Nothing burger. Like that Beach Crow. Green, green, green. Okay. Red, always a pessimist. So, you know, my opinion is, and I said this last week, when you have to really be careful during summer doldrum sessions where liquidity is low, generally speaking, right? Generally speaking, liquidity is low. And essentially you can trick with enough money in the market. If you're a big wig Wall Street guy or girl, you can, with a little bit of capital here, a little bit of capital there, you can, if you wanted to, move the markets in a very hardcore way, especially when it comes to summer. All the Wall Street guys are at their Hampton Beach resorts, or Hampton beaches, at their Hampton resorts. People are at the beaches. People are in Bali or Thailand. There's not a lot going on typically in Wall Street in the summer. And so what often happens, if you look historically at the summer months leading up to Labor Day, it's Labor Day in the States, right? Or is it called Memorial Day? I don't know. Labor Day here in Canada, first whatever long weekend in September, right? Leading up to that, you have a selling off typically of the stock market. And you have this picking back up by Wall Street heading into the first real school week of the year, and buying low. This typically happens. I'm not sure if it's a V-shaped recovery. And I also tweeted out with my prediction being, where is it? Hold on. My prediction was, hold on, from, hey, it's Yashu, TNC. I said, and this was July 21st. So I guess you can fact check me on this if you want to. I tweeted this out July 21st. I said, I think we see a decline in the stock market until the DNC. Uncertainty galore. And then someone actually questioned me on it. And I said, the markets have actually baked in a Trump victory, which is good for stocks. Now they have to rehash and still think if that thesis stands. And I think what's happened since then is people are reneging a little bit on the Trump victory and going, well, is he really going to win? Kamala's doing really well. And so what we're seeing now is a mix of all things, of course, but I think partially that as well. Thank you, Mark. You know, here's the thing, Mark. When you make 100 predictions, I mean, God, I hope you have one or two that's right. And if you do, you have to gloat about it, right? I mean, otherwise, look at me. All right, let's take a swig. Okay, Marco also brings up a really good point. He says the Fed may issue a rate cut. What's your opinion? Okay, so let's go to this piece of news. I actually have it saved here. So last night there was some breaking news that there is now a 60% chance of an emergency rate cut from the Fed this week, according to the market, per Bloomberg. Now look, where is this news coming from? It's coming from this. If you look at the prediction markets, emergency cut, I'm going to pull it up. I think if you look at, hold on. Someone's got to tell me in the chat, what's the, got all these videos lined up here. What's the big prediction market? Is it Predicted? Hold on, let me see if Predicted has it. It's coming from one of these big, can I search on this site? Hold on. I don't really use this site too much. Oh, is the music still on? My bad. Okay, someone's got to tell me in the chat. Where is this? It's coming from one of these big wig prediction websites. My point being, and it still stands until someone tells me what website this is, it's not Bloomberg issuing this. It's one of the prediction markets that you can bet on an emergency rate cut. I think, and I continue to think, that that's not going to happen. I don't think I do not think that we're going to see an emergency rate cut. Why would the Fed come out last week, say what they said, and then just because the stock market's down 3 or 4%, all of a sudden want to issue a rate cut? That being said, I mean, it's all but certain in September there's going to be a rate cut. The Fed can wait a month, right? The Fed wants there to be pain. I think people forget that. Yes. Well, there's a lot of people that are saying, Roger's saying, well, there's always going to be a rate cut before the election, right? I think if the Fed could have their druthers, they would not cut rates before the election. I think that much goes without saying, personally. But the fact that they are having to cut rates is more so because they overcut to begin with, and they cut too hard. If they could have their way, they would wait until after November. The Fed hates looking political, right? Because as soon as you cut rates, it looks pretty preferable to the incumbent, right? Hold on one second. Just changing my stream name here. Okay. So I think that's where we are right now with everything. Okay. But actually, that's a really good poll question to ask everyone in the chat. I'm going to add in a poll. I got so many wires around me. The Fed emergency cut. All right. Vote now on your comments live section in the chat. If you're watching on replay, let me know in the comments. Vote now. Does the Fed emergency cut? Yes or no? I'll leave that up for a few minutes here. Maybe I shouldn't have given you my take so you guys weren't biased on it, but I guess try not to be. Okay. So let's see here. Wow. Holy crap. 79% of people in the chat right now think no, the Fed does not emergency cut. 80%. Wow. Okay, I'm going to let that run for a little bit longer here. But holy cow. Okay, the Fed doesn't want to look reactionary. Yes, Sanjay, I agree. Yeah, it would be quite reactionary, to be quite honest. I mean, if the Fed came out and they were like, hey, yeah, the stock market fell 3-4%, people are clamoring for a cut. You guys are right. Let's cut it. Doesn't make any sense. Well, let's get the power hour started, right, Hadouken? 197.18, down 5% for Tesla stock at the moment. Let me actually move this up a little bit here. Down 5% for Tesla stock at the moment. Google the reason why apparently there's some bad Google news as well is because Google lost their Department of Justice lawsuit or something about competition. So we got that going on as well. Yes, thank you, Messi. Hit like and subscribe. Appreciate that. Well, the Fed likes to say that no one controls them, Roger. So what we got to live with, right? Okay, so let's watch some clips here. Let me pull up my YouTube. Let's start with Jeremy Siegel, Wharton's Jeremy Siegel, talking about the Fed emergency cut. It's a really good segue into our conversation. You guys got to let me know if the audio comes in clear here in a second.
Siegel, Professor Emeritus of Finance at University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business, Chief Economist at Wisdom Tree.
Is that coming in clear? Let me know in the comments, and I'll continue the video.
And Jeremy, I hate, you probably aren't happy to say I told you so either, given what we're witnessing. But you thought the Fed was staying at, once again, for the second time, staying at the party too long and too restrictive.
Absolutely. And, this may surprise me. I'm calling for 75 basis point emergency cut in the Fed funds rate.
Holy crap. Did you just hear what I actually have not seen this before. This came out a few hours ago. I'm going to replay that 5 seconds over.
For 75 basis point emergency cut in the Fed funds rate, with another 75 basis point cut indicated for next month at the September meeting.
Holy crap. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the Bears? Oh, the Bears would have a field day with that. 75 basis points and then 75 again in September. So a $1.50 down in rates in a month. That would be unreal.
And
by the way, I don't agree with that hardcore. I think the risk of upside inflation there would be far too high that fast.
Minimum the Fed funds rate right now should be somewhere between 3.5% and 4%. Let me give you very simple logic of my position here. At the June meeting, the Fed has said that the long run Fed funds rate, when inflation reached 2% and unemployment has come up to 4.2%, should be 2.8. That's the normal. 2.8 is the normal Fed funds rate. Well, on Friday, we blew across the employment number. We're at 4.3. That even argues for a lower one. Now, as far as inflation, we're at 2.5%. We've gone down 90% towards the target on the inflation rate. We've overshot the target on the employment. Those are the two targets explicitly mentioned by the Federal Reserve. All right, and how much have we moved the Fed funds rate? Zero.
Well, in Canada, we've actually moved our interest rates here. Not saying that we're leading or anything, but we do have a degree of Mary Barra in us in Canada.
That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
If we, Jeremy, there's no way we're getting 75 and then another 75. If we do, I don't want to see what's happening in the stock market if the Fed is compelled to do 75 twice. So it's not going to happen. But you're saying that they should. What do you really think will happen? You think they'll do an intermeeting?
They're not going to do 75. Listen, I remember, I remember 2000 when Greenspan did 50. And by the way, the market wasn't scared. The market rallied sharply. It was the same thing. December, they should have cut. They didn't cut, and the market said, you should have. And they did an emergency cut a few weeks later. The market made a strong rally from that position. Listen, Joe, don't think that the Fed knows something like, we're afraid the Fed knows something. Since when has the Fed known anything about the economy?
We don't.
Okay, well, the thing here to keep in mind is that if the Fed is lowering rates as aggressively as he suggests to, that implies that there is something massively wrong with the stock market / economy. Now, you could argue the economy is already messed up, but we're talking if a 1.5% lowering of interest rates is going to happen in a month and a half, like we're talking, crap has hit the fan bad, like bad.
We don't need we don't need to worry about anyone thinking that.
But what's interesting? I'm sorry to interrupt. What's interesting is that by him coming out and saying, okay, 1.5 in the next month and a half is what Fed fund rates need to go down by. He's setting the bar kind of high, of course, but he's really normalizing what's maybe likely going to happen, and that's the 50 basis point decrease come September. Because now when you look at a 50 basis point decrease and you go, well, this guy's asking for $1.50, we're going to get 50 basis points. All of a sudden, that's kind of baked into the economy, and it's kind of normal now. Because, even a couple of days ago, if you were to say a 50 basis point decrease in the Fed funds rate in September was going to be likely, I think you would have got laughed out the room.
That the Fed...
No, not at all. Look what happened 3 years ago.
No,
the market knows so much better than the Fed. So, they've got to respond. Listen, their own stated normal Fed funds rate when we hit targets is 2.8. They're basically at the target.
I love how passionate this guy is. Do you guys not love how excited this guy is about 1.5% decrease in rates?
And there's a lag in monetary power.
Listen, Jeremy, let's say they do that.
Take a look at the Taylor rule. Take a look at any of the rules right now. They're all 150 basis points lower.
Let's say that Jay Powell came out and before September, an emergency meeting comes out and he lowers the rate. Does the market rip, or does the market say, oh, my goodness, it's worse than we even thought?
It rips. It welcomes it. Absolutely. Because it's so far behind the curve.
How's it going, Tony? He looks like he's about to have a heart attack. Okay, question in the chat. If the Fed fund rates go down after an emergency meeting in the next, let's say, week, does the market rip or dip? Throw it in the chat. Rip or dip? if we have a 25 basis point, 50 basis point emergency cut in the next few weeks here, what happens to the stock market? I want to hear your take.
Curve right now. The Fed is up in the
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe it doesn't rip. Maybe people say, oh, goodness.
No.
If they're willing to make an emergency cut today, boy, there's got to be something around the corner.
It's not going to happen today
Not
necessarily.
today. I'm saying in the next couple weeks.
I mean, it could happen in...
Everyone in the chat, look at the comments. Everyone's saying rip, other than Track saying 10.
I think it should. I think they should say, listen, we're taking a look at listen, you take a look at the data. It is not at all comforting. I mean, the hiring employment part of the ISM that we got was just absolutely horrible. I mean, forget about the SOM rules and all that are predicting
SOM rule, you got to drink.
recession. I'm looking at the Fed's own data and the Fed's own written policy, 2.8 when we are at and near the target. They overblew one target and they're 90% towards the other target. Period.
Jeremy, there's no reason to think, given how long it took to move off of zero, there's no reason to think that they're going to take your advice on this. Maybe they do, but maybe not. What if they don't? Then the S&P right now is only down 6% from the highs. The Dow's only down 4%. Nasdaq's down 10%. I mean, what do you how do you think the market will react if it doesn't look like the Fed's going to do anything before September?
I think the market will react badly, very honestly. I mean, if they're going to be as slow on the way down as they were on the way up, which, by the way, was the worst policy error in 50 years.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, this guy's coming with the heat. The worst Fed policy error in the last 50 years was them being slow to raise rates. Wow. I mean, no one showed this guy inflation in the 70s, right? Or the rearing of the double ugly head.
Then we're not in for a good time with this economy. And the Fed has to recognize. I mean, I'm just restating their own written policy. 2.8 normal Fed funds. They haven't moved 1 basis point. They're nearly twice what their normal Fed funds is.
But okay, I mean, look, first of all,
2.8.
This guy kind of is like if Ron Barron had 5 cold brews and decided to focus on macroeconomics instead. That's what this guy's kind of like. I like it. The level of energy he's bringing, the fire on a Monday. Respect to this guy. Now, first of all, I think what I think what something people forget is, I mean, the Fed fund rate is not an absolute metric. I mean, to a degree it is, but it's a relative metric. Because the Fed fund rates now are at 5.5, and they were at 3.5 before when we were at the same level of inflation. I mean, it's a relative metric for that to come down, like we're talking, this would, anyways, a lowering of rates, no matter where you are, is inflationary. It doesn't matter if you're lower or higher than where you were prior to where inflation was. Hope that makes sense. So the point here is, like, the Fed needs to signal that they're there. And the Fed needs the whole world to come out the wazoo and go, you need to lower rates. The Fed wants the whole world against them, and they want the whole world twisting their arm into a move. That's why policies work. If the Fed were to come out and to jump the gun and be ahead of the curve, well, you might risk inflationary headwinds again. Because think about it this way: if the Fed came out last meeting and said, we're lowering rates because we're anticipating the stock market to really, or, employment market to really crater here, and it hasn't yet, I mean, that would just instill overconfidence in the economy. The Fed wants everyone to come out and to yell at them to make a move, especially in an election year. DRK, how's it going? Anyways, Jeremy Siegel, open invite for you to come on the channel, my man. But if you do come on the channel, look, I'm going to have to swig maybe 5 or 6 of these before I even talk to you. Let's talk Tesla with Alexandra Boomer Mama. She was on Yahoo Finance with Brian. this morning. I'm going to jump into the second half a little bit here more. Really good interview. I recommend you guys check it out on Yahoo Finance's YouTube channel. She's also retweeted it. I've also retweeted it. Check it out. This is a really, really good clip of them talking about Tesla and valuation.
And now soon a vision
bit.
and understand where we are going. Visual input, a data that nobody else has, and digests it in a way to action the car and sooner or later the bot. And you have the energy solution with it. So more I went into it, more I understood, how absolutely genius it was to bring all these pieces together, and with which infrastructure this will be. Now, it doesn't come without emotions. I mean, I as any Tesla investor knows, we have our ups and downs, because while we see the long-term vision, obviously the day-to-day stock price can be fluctuating and complicated. But once you've seen this, this vision and understand where we are going and how there's nobody there. Nobody else has this real life AI mastered by having the data input and having the capacity, and now soon data centers are just incomparable to anybody else's. I mean, it doesn't even compare to what Google or Meta, whoever else out there. So I know I'm going on and on, but the thing is, it is just so incredible.
But you are bringing up a key point about the cars. So a couple months ago, I had the good fortune, I spent the day with General Motors CEO Mary Barra, and we got to tour.
I heard she's led
their electric vehicle manufacturing plant. I got to watch the new Lyric being built from Cadillac. Cool stuff. The EV Blazer. And I came away thinking, Alexandra, I'm like, wow, these are real cars that GM is making, real EVs. Yeah. I mean, the data's kind of cool. These things.
This just in. GM makes real cars. Real EVs. Did you hear that? Wow, that really just sunk in for me. Wait a second. They're building real cars, and it mattered. You're right.
Look pretty neat. I mean, do you worry that as more of the big three scale up their production, that they take market share from Tesla?
I hope for every EV that comes on the market. I really do. I'm rooting for them. I also love a lot about Rivian. The thing is, those are cars. Those are EV cars. They are not computers on wheels. The software is just not comparable, and the vision is not comparable, and it is not going where I think Tesla is going. What you have to understand, and I think I best explain it with the bots rather than the cars, because it's the same model. There will be lots of people producing bots, but it is one thing to have a good idea for a bot and having a prototype. It's a completely other thing, building it profitably at scale. And so that's the same issue we have with the EVs. For years now, these companies, these OEMs have been paying horrendous rec credits to Tesla. Tesla has by now $9 billion of rec credits from these OEMs because they cannot build the EVs, so they rather pay the penalty to Tesla.
Man, that really pisses me off, by the way, when Tesla bears come out and they talk about subsidies and Tesla making all this money on subsidies with, all of the EV credits that they get. Fundamental misunderstanding. And I know I'm speaking to the choir a little bit here, but look, the reason why Tesla makes all these ZEV credits is because other automakers just cannot build any EVs. And so they have to buy Tesla's overcapacity of their green cars and their credits to be compliant. It just pisses me off so much. Great job, Alex.
Then losing a lot of money on each EV they are producing. Now, I wish them all the best to, get there, because we should have more EVs on the roads. They're the best type of cars, and people, once they discover it, will, bridge this. But it is clearly not the same vision of full self-drive. Tesla is not about cars, so GM is not our competitor. There is actually no competitor out there for Tesla, other than some Chinese who have the same software vision. And that brings me actually to a subject I would really like to give me a minute, which is I think Tesla is in the wrong bucket at the stock exchange. Everybody considers Tesla a consumer discretionary stock. It should be in the tech bucket, and it will eventually move in the tech bucket because, as you know, S&P and MSCI, they decide once per year in which bucket a stock should be. And I'm sure in 2, 3, 4 years, they will finally understand it because both income and revenue from Tesla will not come from cars, will come from software and energy, that's for sure, but it's not there. And the move from one bucket to the other means that the ETFs investing currently in consumer discretionary and the ones that are investing in tech are about 8 times the size. So that is going to be a seismic shift when Tesla moves off bucket, which is overdue.
That's an interesting take, and I've heard her say this before. And if you didn't catch that, essentially what she's saying is the reclassification, the recategorization of Tesla as a company from consumer discretionary to a tech or something in the NVIDIA camp, right? This AI play will bring and unlock a level of capital allocation to Tesla stock in a part of ETFs that exist all across the market just by being recategorized. That's an interesting take, and this kind of reminds me of the S&P take that we have, a couple years, 4 years ago now on the channel. That's interesting. Now, I guess I don't really know if that happens until Tesla starts having a greater percentage of their revenues be allocated to AI or allocated to subscription or software. Obviously, as it stands right now, the vast majority of Tesla's $100 billion a year in revenue has to do with selling cars. I think if a material change happens with subscriptions, I think that changes. Dojo, I don't know, maybe something like that. Beach Crow says Brian's body language, he looks annoyed. I don't know if he looks annoyed. I just think he disagrees vehemently, because if in the beginning of this clip, he's like, I've never ridden a Tesla. I don't have a Tesla. I have a Porsche. I like my gas guzzling car. So, Tesla sitting on 198.06, down 4.63% as we speak at the moment. Let's watch the rest of this clip.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes left, Alexandra. Let me see if I get a couple more in. One, I did want to touch on former President Trump has been out there on the campaign trail. He has made it known he is not a fan of EVs. Now, he came out recently, said he may be a little more open to EVs because Elon is supporting him. So what if the former president wins 4 more years in the White House, pulls that $7,500 tax credit? What impact does that have to Tesla in your view?
First of all, Tesla doesn't need those credits. It's nice to have, but they don't. They are the most profitable, the only profitable EVs out there, and they sell even without that credit. This is going to be difficult for competitors of Tesla, but not for Tesla. The second thing is President Trump wants to win Michigan. He needs Michigan, and I hear him loud and clear. I hope Elon reaches out to him and teaches him some lessons, because some of the stuff he says is not appropriate. It's just incorrect.
Look, I don't think it should behoove anyone or surprise anyone that Trump likes to play both sides. I mean, come on, the guy's a populist through and through. So he's going to say what he needs to say in front of people that need to hear what they need to hear. And then he's going to do the exact opposite and talk the exact whatever he needs to do in front of Elon, like we've heard. I mean, if that surprises you at this junction, I mean, you just don't know Trump.
And, we'll see how the election goes. But I actually think Tesla is going to be the winner no matter who the president of the United States is going to be starting in November.
And no one...
And to be clear, Trump wants to get rid of the mandate on electric vehicles, right? So the fact that our car companies need to only produce electric cars by 2030, 2035. Some states have mandates like that. Here in Canada, we have a mandate by 2035. All new car sales need to be electric. Of course, there's a couple ways you can scam that. Number one, you can massage the language in the law to say electrified. And we all know electrified means throw in a little 5 kilowatt battery pack, call it a day, throw that little puppy in a service center for the rest of your life. Or you can just scrap it, which I think Trump wants to do.
Nothing lasts forever. Have you thought about life after Elon and what that might mean?
Wow, what a question.
To the company's stock price.
What a question. Wow. I'm gonna replay that.
And what that about life after Elon and what that might mean to the company's stock price.
Yes, that is difficult. That's a difficult question because he is clearly the key man. And we have fought very, very hard this year to win the shareholder vote in June because we wanted to make sure he stays motivated and focused, and he is. So yes, it is difficult. There is obviously a succession plan now in place. 3-4 years ago, that seemed a little bit more unknown, but we hope to have him there as long as possible. What does it mean for the stock price? Well, it depends when it is. If it would come in the near future, it probably would be damaging to the stock price for quite a while. And it would be a shame, because I just don't think that without Elon, the company would get to their goal as quickly as with him. So I hope he's still there for a long time to come.
Have you ever met Elon or talked to him?
No, sorry, no, I did not. I wish I can one day. I had a short interaction with him, but not spoke to him at the shareholder meeting, because I was so vocal getting that vote in that one of the people at the end of the shareholder meeting called me out, and he bowed to me, and he sent me a thumbs up. So I like that, but no, I never spoke to him.
And 1 minute left, Alexandra. If Elon was sitting right next to you, what's the one thing you would tell him that you would like to see from Tesla?
Keep on going. Don't leave us.
Alexandra Merz, this has been a really fascinating discussion. We'll have to have you back, because I did want to talk a little more about the humanoid robot, but next time, indeed. Tesla investor Alexandra Merz, better known as Tesla Boomer Mama on X. Check her out. Really fascinating insights, literally around the clock. Alexandra, good to see you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and that's it for the latest.
Amazing job by Alexandra on Yahoo Finance. First of all, shout out to them for giving her 22.5 minutes, because I mean, context is important. A lot of these, clips, they ask you to come on for like 3 minutes and they cut you off halfway through. It's good to get a long form interview. So everyone go check that out. Speaking of politics, speaking of, a lot of things, check out these little videos. So Trump, this is just actually breaking now, essentially, but Trump has been gifted a Cybertruck. Maybe I'll we'll just play
You
this.
could already see the gift.
Yeah.
And this is Aiden Ross. He's a big streamer on, it was Twitch. Now he's on Kick, I think. So huge streamer. These guys get like 500,000 viewers live.
Yeah, wow. You can't miss it.
That's an Elon.
It is an Elon.
Wow.
Shout out to Mr. Musk.
That's beautiful. Hey, that is beautiful.
Am I going to close the door really quick? Just I want to show them the wrap. Sure. Check out this wrap and let me know your honest thoughts.
I think it's incredible. I think it's incredible.
Go to the front.
So you know what they did? AI. What Google did is they let it happen. See the Secret Service agents here?
Yeah.
They're angry in there. They put smiles on their face.
Right.
You heard about that?
Yeah, no.
That's just terrible.
Yeah, I know. But that's how easy it is to manipulate
It's
everything.
a little bit scary.
Yeah, it is. It's very scary.
Look, whatever you think, put politics aside for a hot second. Can you tell me another car that you can buy for $100,000 that you would gift to the president, or that you would gift to the president and would get millions of views and it would go this viral? Like the Cybertruck, for what its a marketing appeal is quite underpriced. Like even if you bought a Bugatti, would it really go this viral?
We need like a system where we can
Look at that wrap,
quickly fact check things and see if it's real and authentic.
Yeah, and right now they don't have that.
No, they don't.
That's the problem.
So I know we're not going to drive anywhere, but I was wondering if you wanted to like listen to like a song in here.
Congratulations.
All right. Well, you could already see the gift.
So the Cybertruck, I mean, look, he's not going to drive it. And I think I have more clips here saved. 1 second. This is like when Elon danced at the Shanghai opening. Anyways, and then they're inside. They go through. I should probably not play that. Hey, I'm probably gonna get trademarked here, or copyrighted, I should say. Probably should have thought that one through. But so Boyle disagrees. He thinks that we shouldn't be we shouldn't essentially toy with one side to piss off another side. I mean, here's the thing. He's bought the car. Anyone's free to buy the car, and he's gifted the car, and anyone's free to do it, right? So you can't really, it's not like Tesla sponsored this, or Tesla said, here's a free Cybertruck, give it to Trump, or anything like that. It's just a free market guy buying a car and saying, you know what, I'm going to gift it to the president who I'm doing an interview with. So yeah, Roger says just let him drive it, problem solved. Look, imagine if Cybertruck had FSD and Trump was allowed to drive this puppy. Imagine Trump's reaction to FSD. That would like talk about crazy viral, that would go ultra viral. Even Biden or Kamala or whatever, if you get him in the back seat or if you get him in the passenger seat and you go, we're taking you on an FST ride on 12.5.1.1. Can you imagine the amount of views that would get? Yes. He's not the president, but you still call him President Trump. Like, you know, if you're the governor at one point, you're still Governor Christie, right? But you could say former president. Also, does anyone know, is he allowed to drive even though, like, he has Secret Service detail and all that stuff? I'm guessing he can drive now. Like, presidents aren't allowed to drive, but at this point, I think he's allowed to drive it, right? Yeah, it's just when he's sitting. Okay. Not that he's going to sit down and drive his own car unless it's a golf cart or something like that. Bush's response to a supermarket scanner. You're making me YouTube this. Oh, not Bush. I'm guessing you mean George, not Senior. Let's see.
Remember that famous campaign stop where Bush Sr. was discovering, if you will, the wonders of the supermarket scanner? Had never seen one before.
You know what? I have never seen that before.
And maybe this
is that HW?
was Mitt Romney's supermarket scanner moment, but
he was in Florida yesterday talking to a meeting of the National Grocers Association.
Get the feeling, take a look at this, that Mitt Romney has not been in too many Wawas along the roadside in Pennsylvania.
President also got a chance to see a supermarket checkout scanner in action. Kind of seemed as though he'd never really seen one of those before, and the president said that he was amazed.
By the way, where do you get your hoagies here? Do you get them at Wawa's? Is that what you get them? Well, I went to a place today called Wawa's. You ever been to Wawa's? Anybody been there? Some people don't. I'm sorry. I know it's a very big state.
Today I drove in an Uber. You ever hear about Uber before? It's a big app.
Divided, but we went to Wawa's. I was at Wawa's. I wanted to order a sandwich. You press the little touch tone keypad, all right? You just touch that, and you know, the sandwich comes out. You touch this, go pay the cashier, there's your sandwich.
By the way, you know what I noticed on this screen? Can anyone guess what I'm really looking at on this screen? It's not Mitt Romney, I'll tell you that. Someone guess. On this video clip, what am I intently staring at and just super jealous of at the moment? It's not his hair. Yeah, exactly. 1342. The S&P 500, 1342. I don't know what year this is. Maybe, I guess when he's running against Bush, when he's running against Obama or whatever, but the S&P 500 at 1342. Can you imagine that? What a life.
It's amazing.
I guess we're going to look back on the S&P 500 8 years from now or 14 years from now and be like, hey, S&P 500 only 5K.
And the president said that he was amazed.
You press a little touch tone keypad, all right? You just touch that, and you know, the sandwich comes out. You touch this, go pay the cashier, there's your sandwich. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
The guy's never heard about a checkout scanner.
You know, cashier,
I've actually never seen that.
There's your sandwich.
I've never seen that. You know what? Thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. Alrighty, let's go back on stocks, shall we? 197.31, 197.35 sitting on Tesla at the moment, down 4.9%. Let's do a trip around the world, shall we? The NASDAQ is down 3.2% as we speak. The S&P 500 down about the same. Apple is down about 5.6%. And let's do NVIDIA just for the fun of it, down 7.25%. What's wrong with NVIDIA? Is it just about the delay? What's wrong with NVIDIA here? 2.45 trillion market cap. It's kind of nuts. Apple is sitting at a 3.15 trillion dollar market cap. Tesla, in case anyone is so concerned, is sitting at a $630 billion market cap. So by my calculations, Tesla should be $600 by end of year, right? Thank you very much for reminding me, Digital. Appreciate you. Okay, let's do our Tesla closing price guessing game. Remember, Price is Right rules. Throw your Tesla closing price guess in the chat. We got 13 minutes left here until close. You have to be at or under in order to win the virtual Juju prize. One of these days, I'm going to have to give away one of these hats, but I'm going to have to talk to my supplier again. So throw your guess in the chat. Remember, one guess per person per user. And we'll reevaluate when market closes here in the next 14 minutes. So stay tuned and stick around. I'm going to throw in my chat as well, my guess as well in the chat. I'm just going to do a quick check. So 196.61 currently is the VWAP, the volume weighted average price. We're sitting at 197.57. So I'm going to throw in my guess here in the chat. I'm going to say we close at 199 flat. I'm coming in hard. I'm coming in heavy. PowerPoint, you might just win with that guess. I'm coming in hot and heavy. 199 is my guess. I think we rally a little bit here until close. We close just shy of $200. So let's find out soon. Okay, hold on a sec. And by the way, if anyone wants to come on to give their thoughts about the stock crash, whatever is going on, I just threw the link in the stream or in the chat there. If you want to come on for a couple minutes, give your thoughts, ask a question, whatever it is, I will pin it for a little bit. You do it on your phone. And let me just pull this up here. Let's see if anything else is breaking currently on Twitter. Oh, wow. Blasts reportedly heard in central Iran. Just coming out here in the last 30 seconds. What else did I miss in terms of geopolitical news? Delta to pause flights between New York and JFK and Tel Aviv until the end of August. Interesting. That is actually quite a big move, considering I'm guessing that's probably a pretty popular route out there. So Walter Bloomberg is reporting on Bloomberg Terminal saying Fed could intervene if foreign exchange markets go haywire. A sudden move in currency markets could be a reason Fed decides to cut rates before their scheduled meeting on the 18th of September. Investors should know, this is Jeffrey Roach saying, investors should know that a well-functioning dollar funding market is fundamental to supporting the financial system, and heightened currency volatility is a risk. Roach advises investors to pay attention in the near term to the Fed's use of liquidity swap operations, and increased activity could signal heightened uncertainty among central bankers. Folks, it's never a boring day in the stock market and Tesla investing. Like, it's just nuts. Susquehanna is experiencing outages today. What else is new? So I guess this breaking news. Oh, by the way, it's Polymarket, if anyone's wondering. Polymarket is the one that is currently giving a 29% chance of a Fed emergency rate cut at the moment. Is this a sponsored ad? I don't know if it is. But if you missed it, the breaking news here is that blasts are reportedly being heard in central Iran. Is the stock market falling on that news? Let's pull up the S&P. See? No, not really. Not really. In the last 30 seconds, if anything, the stock market has a pretty fat green candle. So, I mean, read that with how you want. I don't know. Mohammed says, Yash, how high is the volatility index? It's quite high. I mean, so I'll give you some anecdotal feedback. So I bought a couple of 300 strike calls in Tesla on Friday on our massive red day, right? And what's interesting is, I'm going to go to my transactions for a second. I bought them on Friday for, what did I buy them for? I bought one for $8.93. Okay. And $8.93. So I bought one for $8.93, right? That same call at the moment still trading for, what is it? It's still trading for $7.75. $7.90. So, I mean, it's 80 cents down on a $9 call. It's really a nothing burger, but Tesla is down 5%. So obviously that means implied volatility has gone up massively. So, and or people are loading up calls. I don't really know. I also bought some IWM calls for middle of October. Those are looking pretty ugly at the moment, but I'm just going to hodl them. So to answer your question about implied volatility, the implied volatility rank on Tesla currently is, see if I can add it in as a column. I got a new phone, so it's messed up all of my columns and stuff on this. Manage columns, add columns, search, IVR. Let's do 52-week IV rank. Done. So 52 IV rank on Tesla currently is 69. Nice. 69. Boyle says unusual whales posted earlier today that VIX was higher today than any other previous days other than 2. Well, okay, that's a great talking point right now, VIX. By the way, get your Tesla closing price guesses in the chat. We got 7 minutes left here till close. VIX today was insane, $65. Now, remember, VIX is our fear index. It's the market volatility index, but the way to gauge it is how much fear is there in the market, right? Higher the VIX, the more the fear. In general, when VIX goes up, stocks go down, right? Inverse correlation. So when VIX retreats, stocks go back up. Now, $65 is insane, right? $65. So the last time it hit 85 or went up to 65 was COVID. I don't see any other like geopolitical thing that's happened that has gotten VIX up to 65 like it had today. So the amount of fear in the market was palpable, insanely so. You'd have to go back to COVID to really see this kind of fear in the market. The other time is 2018, beginning of 2018. And then $53 was also VIX in 2015. So the amount of fear in the market, I'm not sure if you guys felt this, but was similar, I mean, $20 short of COVID times. COVID times. Just unreal, honestly. Now, in general, the reason why I bought calls on Friday was because I looked at VIX on Friday and I said, look, VIX went up to $30. In general, VIX doesn't go much higher than that. It hasn't since COVID. What are the odds that VIX is going to climb high past that? And that was my reasoning, was when there's blood in the markets, VIX is quite high, yes, but if I buy far away enough, I can eat up some of that implied volatility shrink. And so what happened today? VIX shot up. Obviously, stocks went down. But my thesis still remains that VIX is going to continue to come down here. I don't know if geopolitically things are really going to, degrade as much as the world is looking at this potentially degrading. And so, yeah, that's it. Sean says I had the same logic and lost money. Well, that's why I bought October, and I bought my Tesla ones currently are, and this is subject to change. I could always change my mind, but January 2025. So, I've got time. I've got 165 days on these calls. I don't have to nail the bottom. I just have to nail the upswing. And to be fair, these are quite out the money at the moment. They're the 300 strike calls. They're actually these ones. One sec. I don't know. I mean, this could be a big fat zero, but I thought I'd show you guys anyways. Let's view this let's copy this and let's view it in the chart. Let's view, that is my link. Hold on. How do I view it so it stays on the stream? See, I can see it now. Anyways, these calls were worth upwards of, let's do daily. I mean, upwards of, these are quite new. Upwards of $85. Upwards of $85 in the middle of July. So, I bought them for whatever, $8, whatever it was. You don't need much of a retreat here as long as the stock market plays a little bit friendly. Boss, how's it going, my friend? How do you feel about Tesla stock if Fed does rate cut this week? Do you think it would have a bigger effect on Tesla versus the market? I don't know. I don't know if there's a disproportionate effect to Tesla. I mean, the argument is, okay, well, if interest rates go down, people can buy more cars. But I don't think a 25 basis point decrease in rates or anything like that, especially when Tesla's already buying it down. Yeah, it's a little bit of cost savings, but I don't think so. I think right now we're in one of those time periods where nothing is Tesla specific. So be careful, in my opinion, with having to attribute, like right now, nothing Tesla wise matters. I mean, Tesla could come out with a freaking robotaxi level 5 tomorrow and the stock market would be like, yeah, whatever. We'll think about that later. Like everything, all eyes are on geopolitical macro markets, liquidity, Bank of Japan, bankruptcy risk, credit default risk. That's what all eyes are. And maybe I'm mistaken in thinking this, but I really don't think anything is Tesla specific or matters at the moment. Now, maybe a week from now, 2 weeks from now, that changes. But right now it seems like nothing is going to be disproportionately better or worse for Tesla, especially because 1010 I think is still kind of the next eye that we have other than earnings and deliveries. So, well, Sean says when rates cut, markets tend to crash. I mean, I tweeted this out and I said, look, when rates cut, the reason why rates get cut is because something is breaking that it shouldn't, or something is hitting this pain tolerance and it should not be, right? And that's what I think people miss for sure. For sure. We got 2 minutes left here till close. Tesla closing prices, guesses should already be in the chat here. Let me just catch up with everything. Where is... Okay, I'm going to make sure all of the guesses are here, like they should be. Okay, perfect. So 198.94. Oh, folks, my guess is looking pretty hot at the moment. We're rallying up until... Wow, okay. I might actually win my own game for once. 199.20 sitting on Tesla. We're rallying a little bit to close. Still down 4%, but still, I mean, couple buck bounds here until close. We got still 1 minute left. We got 1 minute and 10 seconds left technically till close. I see you guys getting your guesses in last minute. We're gonna have to discount some of those. Okay. Let's see here. Let me make sure everything's working. Okay, perfect. 198.93 sitting on Tesla. So if you missed it, I did a poll in the beginning of the stream where I asked your general sentiments for the rest of the week, and predominantly everyone seems to think we're actually going to be green to end the week. So we'll see. The other thing is, I asked if a Fed emergency rate cut is going to happen, and 80% of people here said no, not happening. And I actually quite agree with that. I don't think it's going to happen either. The Fed can wait a month and 8 days, right? The Fed has waited freaking 2 years at this point. Does it really matter? Does it really matter? I don't know. So I think that's where we are. We got 15 seconds left here till close. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ka-ching. And we have officially closed here on Tesla stock 198.87 or 88. I'm going to give it a second here just to make sure there's no last minute settlements. Wow. Hold on. I think Karsten, you just might have nailed it. I think you might have just nailed it. Karsten got it on the dot. 198.88 close. Is that accurate? Nostradamus over here. I'm just going to verify. 198.88. Karsten, holy crap. I think it's been a while. I don't think we've had someone nail the closing price. And wow. Holy crap. Karsten, remind me next time I give away something. Actually, I feel like I have to give you something too. So I don't know when that'll be, but please take a rain check on my end and I'll ship you something. I feel like for nailing that on the dot. Maybe I'll get some of these hats printed out, some Juju hats up, something like that. I don't know. But Carson, I think you might be in Europe. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't know. That's my gut feeling, but I feel like I've seen you put in Europe somewhere before. Wow. Congrats to you, Karsten. Okay. 198.88 closing on Tesla. What an epic day, right? I mean, days like today really remind us that the stock market is irrational, can move on anything, but something about it really just screams to me opportunity. Is Tesla going to sell less cars because of the Bank of Japan? Is Apple going to sell less phones because of the Bank of Japan? Is NVIDIA going to stop being NVIDIA? I mean, these are the questions you ask yourself on red days like today, and you go, look, I don't think any of this really matters. Now, of course, if there's nuclear war that's about to break out, different story. Folks, look at the NASDAQ's close to end the day. People are going long. I mean, look, what this essentially signals to me is that people are looking at the stock market and going, this was a stupid nothing burger move. I mean, if the NASDAQ was down 6.5% and now closed down only 3%, that's quite the intraday swing. I think people are going to go long. I think we're actually going to have quite a good week. Now, of course, up until the DNC, my prediction still stands that up until the DNC happens, I think we're still going to be in for a little bit of a rocky ride. I think post DNC, once the ticket is finalized, Harris and Shapiro or Harris and Michelle Obama, I don't know who it ends up being, but once the ticket is finalized, once big money can start to run their last, derivative checks on the calculus of who will run against who, I think the stock market will be a little bit more stable. Up until then, I think we'll see some volatility. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Mark, a lot of Wall Street is away. They're sitting at the Hamptons. They're in their beach Bali resorts. People are away. I mean, it's the middle of summer. It's the snooze fest. It's the doldrums of summer. People are away. Yeah, actually, 2024. You know, as a Canadian citizen, do I run as American president? Please call me Ted Cruz. A lot of after hours trading is great. Interesting. Let's pull up Tesla. Wow, folks, look at this. Look at this after hours move on Tesla. Thank you, Sanju. 50 basis points up already on Tesla. After hours. Oh, wait, hold on. This is the NASDAQ. So that means Tesla must be up more. Yeah, 64 basis points. Don't you just sound a little bit smarter when you say it that way? Tesla up almost 0.7% after hours. So $200 we have reclaimed after hours. That is just in at the moment. All right. Well, much love. I appreciate you guys tuning in for another Power Hour episode. I'm glad I could do it today on a day where I feel like we needed to regroup, resettle, get back together, and get back into the groove of things. Much love. I appreciate you guys tuning in for the whole time. If you watched it, if any point, you can go back, replay. I watched some clips on CNBC. I watched Alexandra Boomamama, Alexandra Mers on Yahoo Finance, her clip. Go back and watch any part of this if you want. I appreciate you guys tuning in on a Monday. When's the next stream? I guess you'll have to find out by hitting subscribe, hitting the notification bell. And like I say every Friday, I'll say it today on a Monday. Put away your screens, go for a walk, go to the gym, go for a walk with a dog. If you don't have a dog, get a dog. I don't know, go do some yoga. Go prioritize your mental and physical health. That's all that really matters. Go give some of your time, money, resources away if you can. And I'll catch you in the next one. Yash signing off. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.